She thought Kaiser had turned dangerous. He had been paying attention the entire time to something no one else in the room could detect. Marisol Vega taught kindergarten. 9 years reading behavior in small bodies, in animals brought for show and tell, in the invisible signals that told her which child was about to cry before the cry arrived. She trusted that skill. She had built her understanding of the world around it. Which is why what happened on a Tuesday afternoon in October was so difficult to accept. Not the event itself, but the fact that her own expertise was the reason it almost ended differently. Pilar was 22 months old and furious about a sippy cup that had rolled under the couch. She was crying the way toddlers cry about lost objects, with every cell, face red, arms stiff at her sides. Marisol watched from the kitchen doorway. Tantrums end. You do not reward them with escalation. She waited. Kaiser moved before she did. The German Shepherd was 5 years old, had shared the house since before Pilar existed, and in 22 months had shown nothing but patience with her. Ear grabs, shrieking, the lurching weight of a child learning balance. He bore all of it. He was the kind of dog people called steady, which is why when he came from the hallway at a near run, lowered his broad, dark face until his nose hovered 12 inches from Pilar's mouth, and held that position, Marisol felt something she recognized from professional context as a warning sign. Pilar screamed harder. Kaiser did not move. He exhaled slowly through his nose, directing it toward the child's face. Marisol crossed the room. Kaiser, back. He stepped away from her hand and returned. She pulled him by the collar. He sat. He returned a third time to the same position, same 12 inches, same focused breath toward Pilar's mouth. She called her husband downstairs. Dario watched it happen once. He needs to go outside. Her mother-in-law, visiting for the week, said from the hallway, "You're right. You cannot take that risk." Every person who witnessed it reached the same conclusion. That unanimous agreement felt, in the moment, like evidence. The back door clicked shut. Pilar stopped crying within 2 minutes. Marisol picked her up, held the warm, familiar weight of her daughter, and felt the particular quiet of a problem solved. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you are in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Outside, Kaiser was not barking. He was at the sliding door, both front paws against the glass, his body moving against it in a rhythm that was not distress, but something more deliberate. Marisol noticed it and turned away. Pilar fell asleep against her shoulder. She laid her on the playmat, went to the next room to fold laundry. She heard Kaiser hit the door. Not a scratch. Impact. His full 90 pounds against the glass. Then again. Then again. Each time the same weight, the same interval. Nothing frantic about it. She was moving before the thought was complete. She slid the door open. He walked past her without looking at her and crossed directly to the living room. Pilar was on the playmat. She was not sleeping. Her eyes were open and not tracking. Her jaw was set in a way that wasn't voluntary. Her fingers were curling. The stillness was the kind that comes before the body does something the mind has no control over. Marisol had never seen a febrile seizure begin in a child. She had read the clinical profile. What she was seeing matched it exactly. She called 911 with the phone against her ear, and got to Pilar and stayed beside her. Kaiser laid down on the floor on the other side of the child, his face 3 inches from hers. He did not touch her. He did not move. Has your dog ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. Dr. Angela Chen was in the room within 40 seconds of arrival. 40.1 Celsius. She said it with the flat precision of someone delivering a fact, not a verdict. Your daughter's temperature had been climbing for several hours. The behavioral changes before the convulsion began. The stillness, the eye changes, the muscle posture, those are prodromal indicators, early signals. Then she looked at Marisol. What made you check her when you did? Marisol said, "The dog." Dr. Chen nodded once. During a fever spike in a small child, the body releases a measurable cytokine and cortisol shift hours before the temperature becomes visible externally. Dogs register this change in breath and sweat chemistry. Your dog was pressing his nose toward your daughter's face because he was reading a signal your thermometer would have caught 20 minutes too late. She paused. Another 7 minutes at that temperature, and we would be discussing oxygen deprivation. Every guardian deserves to be seen, even the ones who never ask for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. They drove home the next afternoon. Kaiser was at the front door. He walked ahead of Dario to the bedroom and lay down at the foot of the mattress where Pilar slept. He did not seek acknowledgement. He put his chin on his paws and exhaled once and watched. Tomorrow, there is a story about a dog who knew something was wrong inside the walls for 3 nights before anyone opened a door.